Kaya patokoro potoko baskata bala kapatia tata bada. Shata bada 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 kotopo. Shokoto poto 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 kapa. Shite kata bada bada kotopo nopo. Shoto koto poto 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 kopo. Roko poto shokoto poto poto shite koto. Shokoto poto 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 poto. Shoto koto poto poto poto. Lito kopo poto kopo poto shaka takara. Rata kapa damba baba baba kapa zoto kopo takaba. Lipa toko zenda kapa damba dari atas dam. Shaka bada bada kapa damba kapa dia bada bam. Eko baba baba bada bada. Lopo toko bada 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 bam. Zoto kopo bada bada bam. Zoto bada 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 bada. Kopo zoto kopo takaba. Zoto bada 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 bam. Shata bala bada kapa la bada bako shata bala. La kapa dia bada 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 kopo shata kata bada bada bam. Shata bada kapa la bada 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 bada. Shata kata bada bada shata bada bam. Shata bada 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 bam. Shata bada 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 bada. Shata kapa bada 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 bam. Shata bada 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 kapa. Shata bada 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 kapa baba. Shata bada 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 shata bada bada kapa. Shata kapa bada bada dia bada bam. Shata bada bada bam. Yesu yache yakare. Yesu yache yakare. Like the head of the unicorn, and I'm anointed with fresh oil. My head you have exalted, like the head of the unicorn, and I'm anointed with fresh oil. My head you have exalted, like the head of the unicorn, and I'm exalted with fresh oil. My head you have exalted, like the head of the unicorn, and I'm anointed with fresh oil. My head you have exalted, like the head of the unicorn, and I'm anointed with fresh oil. My head you have exalted, like the head of the unicorn, and I'm anointed with fresh oil. My head you have exalted, like the head of the unicorn, and I'm anointed with fresh oil. My head you have exalted like the head of the unicorn, and I'm anointed with praise for you. My head you have exalted like the head of the unicorn, and I'm anointed with praise for you. My head you have exalted like the head of the unicorn, and I'm anointed with praise for you. My head you have exalted like the head of the unicorn, and I'm anointed with praise for you. Adia Vada has Kedaba Hadeata. Satabada Kadia Bada Kadabayata. I'm anointed with praise for you. My head you have exalted like the head of the unicorn, and I'm anointed with praise for you. Show us the way, path. Will you lead us along eternal highway? We want to follow the footsteps of Jesus. We want to enter your rest. Show us the ancient path. Will you lead us along eternal highways? We want to follow the footsteps of Jesus. We want to enter your rest. Show us the ancient path. Will you lead us along eternal highways? We want to follow the footsteps of Jesus. We want to enter your rest. Follow the ancient path. Lead us along eternal highway. We want to follow the footsteps of Jesus. We want to show us the ancient path. Lead us along eternal highway. We want to follow the footsteps of Jesus. We want to enter your rest. Show us the ancient path. Will you lead us along eternal highway? We want to follow the footsteps of Jesus. We want to enter your rest. There are kingdoms. There are kings. There are thrones, and there are names. Only Yeshua will reign forever. and your kingdom there is no end. There are kingdoms, there are kings, there are kingdoms, and there are thrones. Only Yeshua, we reign forever, and your kingdom there is no end. There are kingdoms, there are kings, there are thrones, and there are names. Only Yeshua, we reign forever. In your kingdom there is no end. There are kingdoms, there are kingdoms, there are kingdoms, and there are thrones. Only Yeshua, there is no end. There are kingdoms. Holy Yeshua, we live forever. Our kingdom there is no end. There are kingdoms. Holy Yeshua, we live forever. And your kingdom there is no there are thrones, and there are names. Holy Yeshua, we live forever. Wakadaba, Akadabadaba, Shatabako, Shatabako, Ashatakabalada, Shatabalakaba, Shatababa, Shatabada, Ako Zatabala, Yatakabalada, Shatabala, Rateza, there are kingdoms, there are kings, there are thrones, and there are names. Only Yeshua, we live forever, and your kingdom there is no end. Alabayetaba, Zelebayatada, Zetekada, Zetebaloni Yeshua, we live forever. Akon Shatalaba, Shatabalaba, Lepekepato, Zetebalebadabadada, Zetebalatakoza, Elete Katana, Adiate Batuka, Letekabalaba, Shatalaba, and Rotebesotokova, Ratabadaba, Holy Yeshua, we live forever. You're a kingdom. You're a king. You're a king. And you're a name. Holy Yeshua, we reign forever. Your kingdom there is no end. You're a kingdom, you're a king. Oh, there are thrones and there are names. Holy Yeshua, we reign forever. To your kingdom there is no end. Who the thought that a lamb could rescue the souls of men? Oh, rescue the souls of men. Hey, who would have thought that a lamb could rescue the souls of men? Oh, rescue the souls of men. Hey, who would have thought that a lamb could rescue the souls of men? Oh, rescue the souls of men. Hey, who would have thought that a lamb could rescue the souls of men? Oh, rescue the souls of men. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire. In darkest time, you are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And now I live in the goodness of God. All my life, all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. Every day, oh, I will sing all of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. Every day that I am made, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. Hey! Every day that I am saved, oh, you see the goodness of God. Let every other name fade away. Let every other name fade away, till there's only you. Let every other name fade away. Let every other name fade away, till there's only you. Let every other name fade away. Let every other name fade away, till there's only you. Let every other name fade away. Jesus, take your place. Let every other name fade away. Let every other name fade away. Jesus, let every other name fade away. Shadabadako, Zabadakadaba, Zokolam, Asyadabadabalaba, Lekopo. Let every other name fade away. Shadabadabada. Wherever you are, can you begin to ask every other name? Let them fade away. Let them fade away. Let them fade away. Let only God be standing. Let only God be standing in your life. Let only Jesus be standing. I will bow to you, to no other God but you alone. I will lay down my idols and cause that I made, and all that has troubled my mind. Lord, I will bow to you. Nothing hands has made, but you alone. I will lay down my idols and cause that I've made, and all that has troubled my mind. Lord, I will bow to you, to the other God but you alone. Father, we ask you to have your way. This day, our daily bread. Forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lord, may we ask you not to lead us into temptations, but deliver us from all evil. For thou is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Somebody say, Amen. Can you have your seat? Even before I pray, Obinigwe has answered me. To bet you good, he has done it for me. See the way he answered me. To bet you good, to beya, to bet you good, to beya, to bet you good. He has done it for me. When I didn't know how to pray, Obinigwe has answered me. To bet you good, he has done it for me. See the way he answered me. To bet you good, to beya, to bet you good. Tonuya, toya, to bet you good, he has done it for me. To bet you good, to bet you good, hey, to bet you good, he has done it for me. See the way he answered me. To bet you good, to bet you good, to bet you good, to bet you good, he has done it for me. When I didn't know what to pray, Obiniwe, they do it for me, oh, to Bechuku, he has done it for me. Oh, Tonuya, Toya, to Bechuku, he has done it for me. He has taken my soul away. He gave me peace of mind, oh, to Bechuku. He has done it for me. I have seen the way he gave better for you. Ikabana tekaba, ikabana badaka lebo, lebe. He has done it for me. Iapaneta pekapatroza, ile bradomba dekabado. Iapaneke dekaba, Alibra teke bado pata balita akemane bato zabada iya padeke bada koza bechuku. He has done it for me. He has taken my pains away. He gave me peace of mind. Aya. He has done it for me. Aha, eya, to bechuku. Omembo mabole. Omelaya, to bechuku. He has done it for me. Omereya meya meya, omeroniro kabujono, aliabaneke. And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar. Somebody say bread. Somebody say bread. Somebody say bread. Somebody say a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs, and she went and sat down over against him in a good way off, as it were a bow shot. For she said, let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him and lifted up her voice and wept. Verse 70. And God heard the voice of the lad. The God heard the voice of the lad. Somebody had a God. Somebody that is alive, shout God. Somebody that is living, shout God. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not. Somebody say fear not. If you are alive, fear not. Can you stand up from your seat and walk to 17 persons of your joy and tell the person fear not? Can I hear you say 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 fear not? Say child of God, fear not. People of God, fear not. Tell somebody by yourself, say child of God, child of God, fear not. Can you hear the voice of the angel saying to you, fear not? Say neighbor, can Can you hear the voice of the angel that is saying unto you, fear not? Can you hear the voice of the angel that is speaking to you? The voice has asked me to tell you, fear not. I don't know what is your problem. You might be suffering from financial problem. It might be economical problem. It might be political problem. It might be marital problem, academical problem, political problem, societal problem, physical problem, spiritual problem. Say neighbor, fear not, fear not, fear not, fear not. Sit down. He said, fear not, for God has heard thy voice. If you are alive, stand up. Go to that person that you think does not want you to succeed. Look at the person and say, God has heard my voice. No, you are not yet there. I said, move to the person that inside your heart, you know the person does not want you to succeed. Yes. The person they look you anan. Yes. The person they look you look. Yes. Tell the person, God has heard my voice. God has heard my voice. You see that I escaping. Move to that person that does not want you to survive. If they do like say, the person they look is anan. If they look, if they took your eye for your matter, the person they bounce an eye for your matter. Tell the person, say, God has heard my voice. No, you are not serious about that. 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 I said, go to somebody that you know the person does not want you to survive. The person does not want you to succeed. The person does not want you to grow. The person does not want you to change level. The person they took eye for your matter. The person they look you and the person they eye you. The person they look you anyhow. The person they talk anyhow. Tell the person, God has heard my voice. God has heard my voice. Hear me, move to somebody else. Look at the person. I say, I know you don't want me to succeed. I know you don't want me to succeed. Tell the person, I know. You don't want me to grow. You don't want me to do shakara. You don't want me to jollificate. You don't want me to celebrate. But tell the person, God has heard my voice. You are not yet there. 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 There is somebody in this church. If they bring your matter, the person go to frown. They bring your matter, you go to face. Go to the person. Say, auntie, Lord, brother, bro, God has heard my voice. Now there is a leader in the church, maybe your director, your HOD, your cell pastor, what they do anyhow, what they do you anyhow. If they took eye for your matter, go to that person, say to the person, director, HOD, HR, supervisor, I come to tell you, God has heard my voice. Onomnaka bugolu chukwe. Onomnaka bugolu chukwe. Ọdụmaka bụgo ọnụ Chukwu. Ọdụmaka bụgo ọnụ Chukwu. Ana m adode kpọwa ya akpọwa. work out something in 7 minutes. He said, arise, lift up the lad and hold him in thy hand, for I will make him a great nation. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the bottle with water and gave the lad to drink. In the next 7 minutes, I want to walk on a subject that is captioned, and God had the voice of the lad. There was something that was going on in this passage while I was going through it in this afternoon. I became troubled in my spirit, because this child was a child that was born out of necessity. She was a child that was born in a state of dilemma, where there was a lot of turmoil and confusion. She was a child that was born out of desperation. She was a child that was born out of pain. This boy was a child that was born out of pain, and it was looking like the child was a child of consolation to both the parents, the mother and the father. But after a while, the game began to change. The political gimmicks began to go against the child and the mother, and then a voice came. It was not a pleasant voice. It was the voice of Sarah, a woman in the state of depression, a woman in the state of pain, in the state of rejection and annihilation. She has been forgotten by the husband. Her beauty was not longer seen. She was not attractive again to the husband. Why? Because the Bible says that Sarah was barren and could not bring forth a child to Abraham. And so Abraham began to shift his attention to the second wife by name Hagar. And so Hagar conceived and bore a child, and they gave the name of the child Ishmael. And the Bible said, and the boy began to grow, and all of a sudden a child that was born out of that pain by the name Hagar began to show herself and began to tell the landlord that I know my position in this house. You are the landlord, I am the landlady, so I should no longer be treated as a slave. Nobody should talk to me anyhow in this house. I will no longer be doing the house chores. I will no longer be cleaning the house. I will no longer be the one to cook, because I am in a state that I need to be pampered. I am in a state that I need to be taken care of. And then God had the voice of Hagar and said to Abraham, you know that lady is correct. And so Abraham hearkened to the voice of Hagar, and the landlady of the house was quarantined to the back, and she could no longer take the insult. She called Abraham and said, I started this journey with you. This here is leaving this house. And Abraham did not understand what Sarah was talking about. He said, Sarah, what are you talking about? This is the blessing that God has brought us to, for us to enjoy the promises he made to us. No, Agai did not understand that. She didn't want to care. She said, I am the landlord of this house now. Abraham, you could not produce a child. I am carrying your baby. I have given birth to Ishmael. So don't treat me anyhow. Don't treat me as if I'm nobody. And two of them began to exchange words. Hagar began to talk to her mother, and then Sarah was looking at the baby boy, looking at the little girl, and said, you guys don't know how I behave. I will send you packing out of this house. Hagar responded, I don't know what you're talking about, ma. In case you have forgotten, this child is now a legitimate born of the voice of Abraham. It came from the loins of Abraham, and so for that reason you cannot do anything to me in this house. And then Abraham was confused. Do I stay with my love, or do I stay with the child? Abraham was in a dilemma, and God came in assistance to Abraham. That is why I called him an illegal God. How can you support the voice of Sarah? And Sarah said to Abraham, if by tomorrow this girl doesn't leave this place, I will pack my load and go. And Abraham was in dilemma. He ran to Hagar and said, what are we going to do? Okay, let me know. I know what to do. Sarah is a lady that fears God. Let me go to God and cry to God. Maybe God will hear my voice. And Abraham ran to God, and God said, Abraham, before you start talking, I know why you came. Hearken to the voice of Sarah. She might be rejected, she might be delayed, she might be abandoned and ostracized, but the promise was never given to Hagar. The promise was given to Sarah. I don't know who I'm talking to here. The promise might be delayed, you might be abandoned and rejected, but there is still a promise with you. There is still a promise with you. There is still a promise with you. And they were still looking at the child, and they packed the baby, and Sarah said to Abraham, let this girl leave this house. And God supported. How could you ask a baby boy and the mother to leave the house? Where will they go to? Somebody help her. Where will they run to? Who will help them? Where will they be eating? Anything that can happen to them, they are going to the wilderness. The wild beasts are there, lions and leopards are there, snakes and scorpions are there. Are you sending her there to go and die? God has a plan. I come to tell somebody today, in the midst of your problem, God has a plan. In the midst of your delay, God has a plan. When you are still waiting, God has a plan. You might look that you are not moving forward. God has a plan. They might have abandoned you. God has a plan. They said you're nobody. God has a plan. They said you will never grow. God has a plan. They have summarized you. God has a plan. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. There was a very big problem. Abraham gathered the mother. Abraham gathered the child. And then Abraham brought the child inside of his room and said, listen, my son, I am in a tight corner and I cannot help you. But there is something I know that works. The day I began this journey with God, I left my father's house empty. My son, I began to see the patterns of the bloodline at work. Please follow me. Abraham left his father's house empty. Ishmael is about to leave empty. He said to Ishmael, whenever this bread will finish, because it will finish, and whenever this bottle of water is finished, that is something I want you to do. Whenever these two things finishes, your mother will begin to cry. Don't join your mother to cry. I want you to lift up your voice and call the name of your God. When you do that, that will be a response. I will show you something now. And then they began to journey to the wilderness. When they got to the wilderness, after a while, reduce my mic a bit. After a while, something happened. The Bible says, help me. Run to 21, run to verse 19, 21. And then Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave to it unto Hagar. Now Abraham knew what he was doing, but he has given the boy a counsel. Listen, let me tell you. In the journey of heaven and the kingdom, may you be blessed is bigger than 120 billion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jesus Christ. And as the boy began to go, the water finished, the bread finished. The boy knew what the father told him. And then the mother carried the boy and kept beside the shrub of a tree and went afar off and said, I don't want to see you die and decay. Listen, at every point of separation is the appointed time for God. Whenever you see yourself being separated, and it now looks as if you are alone, you are closer to God at that point. Now, you would not understand what this boy knew. Let's see Hebrews chapter 6, 14 to 20. It is at this point you will understand before we get back to here, and then I'll begin to close up. He said, saying, surely blessings I will bless thee, and multiplying I will do what? Now you know who this statement was given to? Abraham. So Abraham called Ishmael and said, listen, I want to tell you something. Ishmael, my son, God has already promised me that he will bless everything that comes out of my womb. So you are my seed and you are carrying my blessing. But there is a way to activate it. There are things you need to know. Because where you are going to be faced with tribulations, pains, and trials. So there are things you need to embed it into your heart, so that in the times of trouble, you will hide in his pavilion. That is a place where you hide and people cannot see you. Now that place is called the blessings of God, and I have that blessing. So listen to me, my child. Next verse. And so after he had patiently endured, he did what? He said to the child, number one thing, if you must endure, if you must get this blessing, you must learn the art of patience and endurance. You see, when the food is over, don't die. Don't kill yourself. Don't cry. It is a time to lift up your voice. Next verse. He said, for men verily swear by greater an oath, for confirmation is to them an end of what? All strifes. He said, in a time when there is no other hope, there is something you need to do. This is the lecture room. So after this point in time, you will be on your own. And you will never have me as your father, Abraham. But if you can keep these ordinances, you'll be strong in the land. And I will tell you the advantage of Ishmael over Isaac. Now something happened. Next verse now. He said, wherein God willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of what? Now look at the concocting of the English. Heirs of what? Is supposed to be the heir of the promise, because he's one. The promise was made only to one person, and that promise was to Isaac. But because of the love that Abraham has for his son Ishmael, he put heirs, but one promise. So the promise was big enough for Ishmael and Isaac to share. And you know that a son that grew fighting for himself will be stronger than a son that grew in the father's house. That is what we're experiencing today. The Islamic religion, they grew without their father. But we grew with our father, so we want pampering. They learned principles through the things they suffered. We learned promises by the things we had. Now he said to show unto the heirs of promise the what? Immutability of his counsel. Abania Edi. Confirmed it by what? God, after swearing, he took an oath. I concluded today that a man that is not blessed is a man who has not touched God. Please give me amplified. I think my time is up and I need to rush. Just give me 5 minutes to work on something. All right. He said, because God wanted to show his unchangeable purpose even more clearly to the heirs of the promise.
He guaranteed it with what? God took an oath. He said to Ishmael, listen to me, my child. There is an oath that is binding to the things I'm telling you. And if you hearken to this oath, there is an immutability of God that he cannot lie. Next verse. That by two immutable things, in which it was what? He said to Ishmael, listen. It is impossible for God to lie. Forget your mother, forget your mother, your second mother, your stepmother, leave both of them. But I need you to know that it is impossible for God to lie. We might have had a strong word, consolation, who have fled for refuge, their hold upon. You see that this thing was the words of Abraham to Ishmael. Are you not seeing it? Who have what? Fled for refuge. Who fled for refuge? Ishmael. This was what he was telling Ishmael. My eyes needed to fall out from my socket this afternoon. I said there is a Bible passage in the scriptures for Ishmael. He said that by two immutable things in which it is impossible for God to do what? That is why if the Islam hears Allah Kobari, their yes is their yes. Their no is their no. Once they agree, nothing can change it. They grew with this principle that in the midst of hardship, they will still lead. That is why the North believes that that seat is their own. He said, we know they go school. We don't know any other thing. Power is our own. It was by this thing. Every child they ever bring up, the first principle is that God cannot lie. Can I tell you something? For every time you come to God with hope. But when you are living, you live with faith. Whenever you come before God, you come to him with hope. But by the time you are living, you exchange hope for faith. Because that is a belief system. That is a strong consolation that by two immutable things, it is impossible for God to lie. Had he said it, then he would do it. It is impossible for God to lie. We might have had a strong consolation who have fled. So the consolation of that young boy while he was leaving the house, he turned the house and said, Daddy, bye-bye. But there was something that didn't leave him. He left the house, but the promise didn't leave him. He left knowing that the God of his father cannot lie. Keep going because of time. Keep going. He said, which hope we have. Now, his anchor was what his father told him. He said, which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, and which entereth into what? That within what? The veil. In the midst of unpleasantness, uncertainty, and unsureness, that there is something you need to believe in, that this God you are serving is more than able to take care of you. Ishmael, bread will finish. Ishmael, water will finish. Ishmael, hold on to God, you will lack. I want you to know how to call this God. And the boy, next verse, because of our time. He said, whither the forerunner is for us entered. Even Jesus made a high priest forever and ever, after the order of who? Melchizedek. I don't want to talk about Melchizedek, I don't have time. But now, can you return to Genesis chapter 21 for me? Now you begin to see that the mother distanced himself because the mother didn't have the breaking news. A time to know who is when things becomes difficult. He said, as God opened her eyes and she saw a way. No, return back to 18, son. Return back to 18. He said, arise, lift up the lad, because the mother was lost. She said, my child is about to die. I can't do that. I can't see my child dying. I can't do that. I can't do that. So she carried the child and kept the child one side. Return to 17 now. And then kept the child one side and distanced herself from the child. And God had the voice of the lad, not the voice of the mother, because the mother was crying. It was not the voice of the mother that they had. He said, and God had who? The voice of the lad. Not the voice. It was not the mother's voice that brought the angel. The mother was crying out of regret, pain, and rejection. But the boy said, I know something that my father told me. My father reminded me that the bread will finish. My father told me that water will finish. But he said to me, Ishmael, hear my voice. When the water and the bread is finishing, God is increasing at that point. When the water and the bread is finishing, God does not finish. It may look as if there is no longer water. It may look as if the bread is no longer. But Ishmael, God is alive. Ishmael, God is not a man that he should lie. Ishmael, remember, there was an oath that was binding me and God. Ishmael, when there is problem, I want you to leave your mother. It is not a time to cry. It is not a time to weep. It is not a time to be in pain. It is the time to call upon your God. For they that will call upon their God, he said, they shall be strong and they shall do exploit. Israel, call on your God. Ishmael, call on your God. And God had the voice of the Lord, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, that is an information that Ishmael is carrying. That is an information that Ishmael need to tell you. Why are you shouting? Why are you crying? Fear not, for God had the voice of the Lord. Where is he? Where is the child? We can't even trace him. Ishmael, where are you? There is water available. I did it for you. Now hold on. You will also need to know that it was at this same place that Isaac came and dug well and water came out. The same technology that did it for Ishmael provided the same water for Isaac. I don't know who is here. He said, arise, lift up the lad and hold him in thy hand, for I will make him what? A great nation. The boy remembered the statement of his father. And when he obeyed, heaven responded. Have you called upon God on that matter? You have called your auntie, you have called your brothers. You might even call your father, your mother. Maybe you even called your pastor and your prophet. Have you called on God? The promise is still with you. That thing God told you he was going to do, he has not changed his mind. He did not give it to another person. The promise is still with you. The promise is still with you. No, he did not change his mind. You might have offended him, but he still left you with the promise. Why? Because there was an oath that is binding the both of you. He said, I swear by my name that in blessing I will bless you. If God can swear because of a man, I don't know what can stop him from blessing the man. if God can take an oath by his office, and the Bible said, having seen that he has no other person to swear to, he swore by his name. God looked around himself. There was no rank greater than him. And he took an oath by himself and said, my son, it doesn't matter the weather, I will bless you. I want you to use 2 minutes and talk to God. Just 2 minutes. And I would like you to take a posture of kneeling down. Make sure you are enclosed and there is no outside penetration. Let there be no outside penetration. Imarama idiebu idiokonwa Jehovah bụ Chineke na onye m na-efe riwo tuto n'ịbọ kaka ịmara mma o ịmara mma ebube ịdị ebube ịdị oke ọnụ ahịa. Take a note. Jehovah bụ Chineke onye m na-efe riwo tuto n'ịbọ kaka. I'm leaving you with God. Make sure you are communicating. Make sure you are talking. The promise is still with you. He didn't take it away. He told you I will be there with you. He meant it. What you did not know, that he took an oath by the immutability of his power that he cannot lie to you. He meant your promise. Ndom nadi obu nebere gi obi utale gi aroma di wike Jehovah bụ Chineke na onye m na-efe riwo tuto n'ịbọ kaka. Ịmara mma o ịmara mma Chimo ịdị ebube ịdị oke ọnụ ahịa lele. Jehovah bụ Chineke onye m na-efe riwo tuto n'ịbọ kaka. Ịmara mma ịmara mma ịdị ebube ịdị oke ọnụ ahịa. Jehovah bụ Chineke na onye m na-efe riwo tuto n'ịbọ kaka. Ndụ m na di ọ bụ n'ebere gị obi ụtalị gị wo arụma dị wike. Jehovah bụ Chineke na onye m na-efe riwo tuto n'ịbọ kaka. Ịmara mma ịmara mma ịdị ebube ịdị oke ọnụ ahịa lele. Jehovah bụ Chineke onye m na-efe. Can you stand on your feet now? Riwo tuto. Pick up your offering. The moment the boy drank the water, the Bible said, and he was weaned and trained. He became a strong, mighty man in the desert. Now, can you pick up your offering? We are going to dance to the altar. You just lay it on the altar and you walk back. Make sure you are dancing to God. He's just telling him, I agree with what you have said. And I know that water and bread may finish, but I will still hold on to you. Imarama o, Imarama, Idi ebube, Eze Idi okono ahia. Jehovah bụ Chineke na onye m na-efe riwo tuto n'ịbọ kaka. Ezi enyi enyi na-adịghị ada. Ezi enyi
Yada. Jesus. Una hola nuwe.
Jesus.
Nike chupu. Odigi natangozi. Jesus weni kata. Can you dance and come to the altar now? Child. Kabu obi, kabo chinchonke obi. Ona masi mina no lonsogi. Kawe mara, ilo mi dinagi. Papa mo go bilite no Jesus. Fading away like the stars of the morning, losing their light in the glorious only remember by what he has done. Fading away like the stars of the morning, losing their light in the glorious light. Thus will we pass from this earth and this darling, only remembered by what we have done. Oh, only remember. Only remember. Hey, only remembered by what we have done. Thus will we pass at this end and this calling. Only remembered by what we have done. Only remember, hey, only remember, hey, only remember by what he has done. Thus will we pass on the earth and his calling. Only remember by what he has done. Only remember, only remember, hey, only remember by what he has done. Thus will we pass from this earth and this body. Only remembered by what we have done. Can you have your seat? I feel the atmosphere of the ancient mantles already. And I want to remind us that our flyers are ready.
and we have a lot of work to do. So please just make sure that you have some of those flyers when the time comes to share. We still have an intention to prepare the church. The temple is not yet ready to host the ark for that event. And so we need a lot of work in and outside of the premises to get the temple ready for what God is about to do. Please don't stop partnering. If you have not partnered, you are wrong. Make sure you get something committed for this program and event. Why I'm not yet married will be coming up on Friday by 2 p.m. here. And so you can follow us online as we'll be treating on that very interview section. Remember that our all-night Fridays, last Friday of the month is back. So we'll be having a prophetic and healing service on the last Friday of the month. Please remember that. We have already marshaled out the cells for the competition. So please, if you don't have a cell and you have the old cell, you're no longer there, do well to wait behind after service so you can pick the cell that you belong to. I don't know if the colors, do we have the colors? If you can, get me the colors so I can announce them, please. We agreed on some colors, so we don't have a color riot. So please do well to commit to that. And if you are not yet a worker, please, it's time for you to engage. If you can touch God, your story will change. If you can touch God. If you can touch God, your story will change. So please do well to engage properly through the necessary, important, and legal quarters of the church to get yourself better. If you have not posted the ancient mantles on your social media platform, please, tonight, let it be the night that every one of us will post at the same time. Your WhatsApp page, your Facebook page, your Instagram page. If you want to do a short video, please also meet the media for that short video so that it can be projected for your friends and families to see. Begin now and plan to bring at least 10 persons. Make sure that nobody is remaining in your family, not even one. Because I can guarantee you that the men of God are coming. And they are fully loaded. So I hope we are getting ready for that very program. Please, the follow-up department and the evangelism and media team should please wait. The instrumentalists should please wait immediately after service for important information. Please, all the directors are expected to also wait so that we can pick up some vital information before we go. All right, Dominion cell. Dominion cell, your color is blue. Your color is what? Blue. Zion cell, your color is white. King cell, your color is black. Michelle, your color is red. Yeshua, your color is green. Royalty, your color is yellow. And Emerald, you are using Atletico Madrid's jersey. Emerald Atletico Madrid's jersey. That's a mixture of white and red. Right. So please, there will be an organization to go to Abba to get those colors. Please, it's a must. When you are coming for any of those games, you put on your cell material, your cell uniform, and put on a can on your leg, because all the programs are going on air live, and we are going to be having externals to come and witness those events. Hallelujah to Jesus. Please remember to submit, begin to package your competitors for all the competitions. Please, those of the comedy, if you are not in the comedy competition of yourself, please, you need to see us so that we can tell you the involvement and the requirements. Can we rise on our feet as we pray? Genesis 21 verse 19 said, and God opened her eyes. I pray for you today that God will open your eyes. I pray for you today, God will open your eyes. I pray for you today, God will open your eyes. I pray for you today, God will open your eyes. I pray for you today, God will open your eyes. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. 2023. 2023. 2023. God bless.